February 19th, 1945. 06 for 2 hours. Southwestern shore of Iwo Jima. The ocean is unnaturally calm for an island built from volcanic fury. Low mist clings to the waves, swallowing sound, swallowing breath. Then out of nowhere the sky begins to thrum, not softly, but like a giant's heartbeat. Thump, thump, thump. Landing craft punch through the surf in tight lines. Steel hulls packed with U.S. Marines gripping rifles still cold from the night. Salt spray kisses their faces, but no one wipes it away. Their eyes are fixed on the island ahead, an island that looks dead, silent, almost indifferent. But you can feel it. Everyone can. Something is watching them. Mount Suribachi looms like a jagged black tooth at the island's southern edge, rising out of a world of ash. No trees. No grass. No shade. Only sulfur-stained rock and the smell god that smell like the earth itself is rotting from the inside. Marine in the front row mutters, "Where the hell are they?" Because the beach is empty. Too empty. But beneath that black sand, hidden under 20 miles of tunnels woven like veins through the island, Japanese troops are crouched shoulder to shoulder, waiting, listening, hands resting on trigger guards, and laughing. In one dim tunnel, lit only by a single flickering lantern, Lieutenant General Tadamichi Kurabayashi walks past groups of soldiers who whisper jokes about the American so-called flamethrowers. A few mimic exaggerated squirting motions, bursting into quiet snickering. They think we fear fire? One scoffs. "We are the Emperor's shield," another answers, tapping the steel plate of a pillbox wall. "These caves will swallow their flames before they reach us." Kurabayashi doesn't smile, never smiles anymore. But he lets the men talk, knows their confidence is a weapon too. For now. Above ground, the first wave of Marines leaps from their landing craft, boots disappearing instantly into sand so fine it behaves almost like liquid. They slog forward, rifles rising, scanning dunes and ridges for movement. Still nothing. Silence. But you can hear it building, the tension that lives in your spine when you just know someone is holding their breath, waiting to strike. A radio operator calls quietly. No sign of activity. Advancing. He barely finishes the sentence when the world opens its jaws. Machine gun fire erupts from invisible apertures carved into cliff sides. Mortars slam into the beach, spraying molten sand and bone fragments. Men dive, men scream. Men vanish completely beneath explosions so violent they shake the air itself. The Japanese soldiers are no longer laughing. They are roaring, firing, yelling, slamming fresh belts into Nambu machine guns, their voices echoing through tunnels like the howl of a living beast. Marines try to push forward, but the volcanic sand betrays them, swallowing every step. It's like running on a collapsing staircase. They fall. They crawl. They dig their elbows in and inch forward while bullets streak overhead like angry hornets. On the horizon, more landing craft appear, wave after wave, carrying more lives into the furnace. Corporal James Red Duffy hits the ground beside a man whose helmet is still rolling down the beach. "Jesus, where's it coming from?" he shouts. Sergeant replies between breaths, "Everywhere, everywhere." The Japanese defense is a perfect machine interlocking fields of fire. Airtight tunnels, hidden artillery. Marines hit pillboxes with grenades, but explosions barely scratch the surface. Every time a position seems silenced, it wakes again, spitting death. One Marine shouts into the chaos, "These bunkers are invincible." For a moment it looks like the invasion might actually stall right here on this cursed, burning slope under the gaze of Mount Suribachi's unblinking crown, and somewhere deep underground, hidden from all the carnage above, a squad of Japanese soldiers huddles inside a reinforced cavern, laughing again, not in nerves, but in contempt. One of them gestures mockingly with his hands, mimicking a flamethrower nozzle. "Let them bring their gasoline toys," he says, smirking. "We have air vents, blast doors, choke points. Fire is useless here." Another adds, "Americans will burn before we do." Their officer nods approvingly. "Our tunnels cannot be breached." Suribachi is a fortress. The Americans will break themselves on its teeth. But in that same moment, on a different stretch of beach, a Marine squad pushes forward behind a young man with a calm face and eyes that blink easily. He carries a weapon almost as tall as he is. A weapon that weighs nearly 70 pounds when full. The M2 flamethrower. The man carrying it, Herschel Woody Williams, walks, as though he has already accepted that he might not walk back. A burst of machine gun fire zips past his ear, carving sparks out of a metal fuel tank. But he doesn't flinch, only looks toward the nearest pillbox. It's slit chewing Marines to pieces and whispers to himself. All right, let's see how you like this. Behind him, 2 Marines assigned to protect him exchange a look. Fear, respect, something between the two, because they know exactly what Woody is about to try. And they know exactly how many men have already died just trying to get close. The Japanese soldiers hidden deep inside the tunnels keep laughing at American flamethrowers. They have no idea they are about to choke on their mockery, because Woody Williams is about to light the first spark. Because Woody Williams is about to light the first spark. Because Woody Williams is about to light the first spark. And those tunnels, those proud, unbreachable tunnels, are about to learn what fire truly means. The beach behind Woody Williams looks like a scene carved straight out of hell. Smoke crawls low across the sand. Men shout for corpsemen. The air tastes like metal and ash. Mortar crash so violently that even the earth shudders in pain. But Woody doesn't stop. He adjusts the heavy twin fuel tanks on his back, the straps cutting into his shoulders with every step. And he breathes slowly, deliberately, as he trudges forward through sand that swallows him up to the ankles. Machine gun rounds pop past him, slicing lines in the air. A Marine grabs his arm. Can't get close to that thing. Woody turns, eyes steady, jaw set. That bunker doesn't stop firing, he says. He nods once to himself more than anyone and pushes on. A Japanese mortar explodes 5 feet away, spraying volcanic grit across his face. He stumbles, almost goes down. His support Marines dive behind crater edges, yelling for him to get to cover. But Woody is already moving slow, steady, unstoppable. The pillbox he's charging sits partially buried in black sand. Concrete reinforced with steel rebar, designed to survive naval bombardment. Its opening is a narrow horizontal slit just wide enough for a machine gun and just deadly enough to pin down an entire company. Inside, Japanese gunners reload, sweating in the sweltering heat of the enclosed chamber. The chamber walls vibrate with each shot they fire. One gunner smirks as he feeds another belt into the weapon. "They keep sending men into our sights," he mutters. "It's fools." A second soldier peers through the firing slit, sees a dark figure approaching through the smoke. "Another one," he says. "It will die like the rest." But something about that figure is wrong. He is not crawling. Woody reaches the last dune, drops low, and slides into a shallow depression carved by an earlier explosion. He can feel the heat inside the pillbox like a faint exhale through the firing slit. He waits, one breath. A jet of liquid flame bursts from the M2's nozzle, roaring like a living creature. It arcs forward in a blazing ribbon, slamming into the pillbox slit. Fire pours inside like a hungry river, licking along walls and ricocheting through the confined chamber. Inside, in a single instant, mockery becomes horror. Japanese soldiers scream, scrambling away from the machine gun as the fire surges through air vents and blast ports they once bragged about. Heat explodes like a trapped sun. Munition cooks off, popping like firecrackers in the suffocating dark. One soldier tries to yank open the rear hatch, but the metal is already too hot to touch. His skin blisters. He falls backward into the inferno as the flames swallow the chamber hole. Outside, Marines watch the bunker finally fall silent. To support Marines rush toward him, but Woody just stares ahead. On the ridge ahead, at least 6 more pillboxes are still firing, all connected by tunnels that run like arteries beneath the island. Captain approaches, ducking beneath a spray of bullets pinging off the rocks around them. "Williams," he yells. "Can't advance until those positions are cleared. You're the only one who can get close with that thing." His arms ache. "Point me at the next one." "Give a second." Pillbox is even worse, its entrance tucked behind jagged volcanic rock and flanked by interlocking machine gun nests. Marines try to throw grenades, but they bounce uselessly off reinforced concrete. Then comes a sound Woody hates. Sniper. Woody dives behind a ledge, heart hammering now, not from courage, but pure survival instinct. Heavy tanks full of fuel. One bullet in the wrong place, and he breathes slowly, steadying himself as Marines suppress the sniper. Once the fire eases, Woody crawls forward, dragging the M2 with him. Sand sticks to his arms. His chest burns, but he keeps going. He reaches a dip in the terrain and crouches behind it. The pillbox is 10 yards ahead. Close enough. The second bunker erupts in a wave of orange fury that rolls through its interior, sending black smoke out the vents like the breath of a dying dragon. Japanese defenders scream and vanish into the blaze. Marine riflemen cheer behind him, but only for a moment. Another machine gun nest opens fire from the far right flank, bullets shredding sand inches from Woody's boots. He turns, gasping, searching for cover. For the first time, Woody feels the weight of death settle on his shoulder. Just the calm realization that he might not have another burst left in him. And yet deep inside that bunker, Japanese soldiers are not laughing anymore. They are praying, because they've seen what fire can do to steel. A voice shouts his name. Woody. The voice cuts through gunfire like a lifeline thrown across a storm. Woody turns his head, chest heaving, vision blurred by sweat and smoke. Two Marines sprint toward him. Private First Class Charles Fisher and Corporal Jack Wilsonman, assigned as his security team. The ones who cover him every time he steps into the jaws of death. They slide into the crater beside him, panting hard. Fisher grabs Woody's shoulder. Your tanks. They're almost dry. Woody nods, barely able to catch his breath. On it, Wilson says, crawling backward through sand while rounds crack overhead. Inside the next pillbox, a large, reinforced position protecting the central tunnel network. Japanese officers shout commands. Runners sprint through trenches connecting hidden gun pits. Machine gun swivels and locks onto Woody's position. They've identified him, the man with the fire. A Japanese officer slams his fist against the firing slit. Kill the flame carrier. Now. Outside, the black sand erupts in a rain of bullets. Not from impact, he's not hit, but from the way the ground trembles, the way volcanic ash sprays across his neck. The air is alive with death. Fisher raises his rifle, firing precise shots to suppress the bunker's window. Move when I say so, he mutters. The pillbox towers above them like a crouched monster. Its concrete face is pockmarked, its vents belching smoke. The firing slit pulses with muzzle flashes. Deeper inside, the tunnels hum an underground city on high alert. Fuel's hot and full, he groans. Let's swap it. Under fire, Woody drops to his hands and knees as the two Marines work with desperate, trembling fingers. They yank off the empty tanks from his back, tanks so warm they steam in the cold wind and lock in the fresh set. Woody can feel the weight again, heavy, punishing, familiar. Woody stands. Strange calm settles over him. Not bravery, something colder. Resolve carved from exhaustion and necessity. He jogs toward a line of broken rocks where he can close the distance to the bunker. Marines behind him lay down, suppressing fire in synchronized bursts. Every step he takes feels stolen. Somewhere to his left, a Marine screams and goes down. Inside the bunker, Japanese soldiers scramble. It's coming closer. One shouts. Another man jams a fresh belt into the machine gun, fingers shaking. Officer pushes them aside and takes the controls himself. He must not reach this chamber. He reaches a jagged outcrop of volcanic stone just 15 feet from the firing slit. He crouches low, heart slamming in his ears. He risks a glance around the rock and immediately pulls back as a machine gun burst sprays sparks inches from his face. He waits. A river of flame bursts forth, the roar so loud it drowns even the gunfire. The jet arcs beautifully, horrifyingly, into the pillbox's narrow slit. Inside, chaos. Flame crawls along the walls, clinging to air vents, pouring into crevices, igniting canvas bags of ammunition stored carelessly along the walls. Soldiers scramble in blind panic, their shadows dancing madly in the inferno. The officer tries to shout orders, but his voice disappears beneath the roar. Outside, Marines cheer as the bunker's gun finally goes silent. Smoke billows out in thick plumes as Woody steps back, his breath short and violent. He can smell burning oil, burning rubber, burning everything. But it's not over. Behind the destroyed bunker, a massive tunnel mouth gapes open, reinforced with steel beams, wide enough to swallow trucks. This is no small outpost. This is the central artery of the Japanese defense. And from deep within it, from a place so dark it feels like the island's heart, comes a new sound, a rumble. Low, slow, growing. Wilson squints toward the tunnel. What the hell is that? The rumble grows louder, echoing like thunder trapped underground. Dust drifts from overhead beams. Marines scramble, raising rifles. Then they see it. A squad of Japanese soldiers emerges, not in panic, not scrambling like the others, but marching in disciplined formation. Bayonets fixed, grenades strapped across their chests. Faces painted with volcanic ash. Counterattack team, hand-selected, fanatical, tasked with one mission. They break into a charge, screaming banzai, so loudly it rips through the smoke. Woody turns toward them, and for the first time that day, the scream of banzai slices through the chaos like a jagged blade. Marines freeze for half a heartbeat, eyes snapping toward the tunnel mouth where the counterattack team storms into the open, sprinting down the incline with terrifying speed. 30 men, bayonets flashing, grenades clattering against their chests as they run. Woody Williams doesn't breathe. He just stares, caught in the impossible math between courage and survival. Fisher shouts, "Woody, get back now!" And these soldiers aren't hiding. They're charging straight into the open, prepared to die if they can get close enough to drag him down. Woody drops to one knee, snaps the nozzle toward the front of the charging wave, and squeezes the trigger. A gout of flame bursts forward, shorter than before, weaker but enough to carve a blazing curtain in the sand. The front line of attackers flinches back, their screams cut short by the roar of the flame. 2 soldiers collapse, uniforms igniting like dry kindling. But the rest surge around their burning comrades without hesitation. Yells. They're flanking him. Fisher and Wilson fire wildly, bullets punching into chests, arms, legs, but the attackers keep coming. It's as if each shot only pushes them faster. Each death only feeds the roar of their charge. Woody swings the nozzle right. Empty. His fuel tanks are spent. Their eyes widen, their voices rise. They sprint even harder. Bayonets lowered like the horns of charging bulls. "We need ammo! We need another tank!" he shouts. His fingers fumble with the straps, trying to free himself from the empty tanks. The first Japanese soldier reaches the crater's edge, diving in with a snarl. Wilson shoots him point blank, but another leaps in behind him, then another. The crater becomes a storm of fists, steel, and desperate shouts. Marines grapple with attackers in brutal hand-to-hand combat, sand exploding under their boots. Woody rips off the empty tanks and grabs for his sidearm, pulling it free just as a Japanese infantryman lunges at him with a bayonet. Woody fires once, twice. The man collapses inches away, spasming in the sand. From above, Marines on the ridge fire down into the melee, trying not to hit their own men. Bullets stitch the ground, kicking up black clouds of volcanic ash. Fisher screams, "We can't hold this. Fall back. Fall back." But behind them, the terrain drops into open sand, no cover, no protection. The counterattack team is funneling them into a kill zone. His throat burns. He can feel the weight of exhaustion trying to pull him under. But then, through the smoke, he sees them. "Williams, get over here. I've got a tank for you." Hope spikes through Woody's chest. He scrambles forward, half running, half stumbling, as bullets crack around him. Fisher and Wilson cover him, firing every second they can. The fresh squad lays down, suppressing fire, mowing into the counterattack team from the flank. But the Japanese are relentless. Even as their numbers fall, even as bodies litter the sand, a final handful break through, charging straight at Woody before he can reach the new flamethrower tank. He dives behind a slab of volcanic rock. The new unit is only a few feet away. The Marines holding it shout his name again, but between him and survival stand 3 remaining Japanese soldiers. One pulls the pin from a grenade and begins a dead sprint. Another raises a rifle with bayonet fixed. The third screams a battle cry that echoes off the cliffs. Woody is out of ammo, out of time. He reaches instinctively for anything: a rock, a rifle, anything, when suddenly a shadow passes over him. A Marine from the fresh squad leaps from the ridge above, tackling the grenade carrier mid-stride. The explosion rips the air apart, smoke and sand blasting up in a violent plume. Woody shields his face. When the smoke clears, the Marine who saved him doesn't move, and the last 2 attackers are still coming, Woody realizes with cold clarity. This is the moment that decides whether the tunnels of Iwo Jima fall, or whether they swallow the Marines whole. The bayonet clinched just once before the charging soldier brings it down in a vicious arc meant to end Woody Williams where he kneels in the sand. Woody throws himself sideways. The Japanese soldier snarls and yanks upward, trying to rip the blade free. Woody doesn't wait. His pulse roars in his ears. He can hear the boots of the second attacker pounding toward him from behind. 2 men, 2 blades, 1 heartbeat left. He grabs the tanks, cold, heavy, alive with promise, and, in a single desperate motion, throws them onto his back. The straps slap against his shoulders. Oh. He fumbles with the buckles, breath shaking, vision tunneling with adrenaline. Woody, Fisher screams from somewhere behind him. Get down. Woody can't get down. The first attacker rips his bayonet free and charges again, fury burning in his eyes. The second flanks from Woody's left, blade raised high for the killing strike. Woody squeezes the trigger. A jet of flame erupts from the nozzle, bright enough to turn the smoke around him into a writhing halo. A pillar of orange engulfs him, his silhouette crumbling into the blaze. But the second attacker is close to close in. Woody swings the nozzle desperately, sweeping fire across the sand. The burst catches the soldier's legs, igniting his uniform, sending him tumbling forward into the ground. He rolls, screaming, until his voice is lost in the wind. And just like that, silence, not peace, never peace on Iwo Jima. The silence of a moment seized, a threat extinguished, a breath stolen back from death. Woody lowers the nozzle, shoulders trembling beneath the weight of the tanks. Marines around him climb from craters, stunned, staring at the man who just survived what no one was supposed to. Wilson runs up first, panting, eyes wide. Insane, he says, half laughing, half shaking. Fisher claps him on the back. We push now. Before they reorganize, Woody nods, still catching his breath, but his eyes are already forward, toward the tunnel mouth where the counterattack team had emerged. Movement. Small. Quick. Uncertain. Japanese defenders, stragglers scrambling deeper into the tunnel, abandoning their outer bunkers. Fear has replaced the arrogance they held only hours earlier. Because they have seen something they didn't believe was possible. Fire breaking their stone fortress. Fire crawling where bullets cannot. Fire turning the island's veins into death traps. Woody moves forward again. He edges up to the tunnel entrance, Marines fanning wide to cover him. The air inside is suffocating thick, with soot and the acrid stench of burning oil. It feels alive, breathing heat, pulsing with the remnants of the counterattack. Williams, you don't have to go in there. It's a maze. They could be waiting. Woody looks at the darkness. Those tunnels feed every surviving pillbox across the ridge. If they aren't sealed, the battle resets. The cost resets. Marines wait at the entrance, weapons raised, breaths held. Can't see him, but they can hear him. Footsteps. Fire blasts through the interior, lighting up cracks in the ceiling, pouring into side chambers like molten rivers. The ground vibrates as the flames find ammunition stores. The explosion is not huge but deep, a muted thump that echoes through the island's bones. Smoke billows out of the tunnel. Silence. Woody emerges, staggering slightly, face darkened with soot. Marines rush forward to steady him. You good? Wilson asks. Above them, the ridge finally quiets. Gunfire fades. Machine guns fall silent, and the black sands of Iwo Jima stop trembling. For the first time in days, the battlefield exhales. Word spreads quickly across the lines. The bunkers that stalled entire battalions are gone. The tunnels that fed endless defenders are collapsing. And the man carrying the flame, the weapon they mocked, has turned the island's strongest defenses into ash. Hours later, when the flag raising atop Suribachi inspires millions back home, few know that deep below that mountain, on a day soaked with smoke and sacrifice, a quiet Marine named Herschel Woody Williams carved a path with fire no one else could walk. He would receive the Medal of Honor. He would live to tell the story. But the Japanese defenders on Iwo Jima would tell another story of a weapon they had once mocked, tunnels that became inferno, and the Marine who wielded it